Welcome up to Ravenheart 2024. I'm Kai Olssen. I'm one of the curator here, and today I'm joined by Kyle Sevenoaks, the director of
Taste in music.
Yes, a little sci-fi horror comedy filled with synthwave aliens and ends in a touching with a touching message about parenthood.
Yeah, I guess you could say
Yep.
that.
So tell me a bit about the movie. How did you come up with the idea?
Well, me and Chris, the main actor, we were talking about what would happen to random electronic devices if a cosmic storm nobody understood hit Earth, and that's basically what we came
Yep.
about with it. Like we're musicians, so we decided, a little keyboard. What would happen to that if it decided to attack this guy?
So why keyboards?
Well, because I love synths,
Yep.
basically. I mean, Chris is a metal musician. I'm primarily a metal musician, but I've also been in love with synthesizers almost my entire life. So just thought it would be great if I could get this keyboard. And as soon as we had the idea, I just had the vision of it flapping up and down with giant teeth covered in blood. And you can't really do that with a guitar. So I thought, that's perfect.
Because the film has a very 80s vibe, not only by the scent, but also the way you use colors and also the way all the gore is arranged. It seems to be very inspired by filmmakers such as early Sam Raimi, early Peter Jackson, and maybe even some British ones like Alex Chandon. Can you tell more
Yeah,
about that?
absolutely. Like films like Brain Dead, Evil Dead, like you mentioned, they're absolutely my favorite era of horror filmmaking. Yeah, I'm so glad you picked up on the color palette because that's exactly what I was going for. I wanted things to be brightly colored. That's why the keyboard has a very red color palette when you look at it, and the actor has a very blue color palette when they're interacting with each other, so you can always tell which direction they're coming from and everything like this. But no, I mean you've got it dead on. It's definitely my my influences right there.
So, how was the production and everything? Because it looks like you have not too much money to work with, but you have made it well. You have made put it well to use.
Yeah, we had a budget of about $200. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. It was very, very small. But we had access to this cabin, which is actually on a very small island off the coast of Kragerø. So it's a 20-minute boat ride to the island, and you cannot access it any other way. And I had to rewrite parts of the script to fit this location, but we made it work the best way. And it took us 2 weekends to shoot it, which were very, very long nights, but all well worth it.
Yeah.
And post process was about 6 to 7 weeks because I had to regrade it a couple of times and get everything perfect. And of course, the compositions took a long time to get like perfect in sync with all the action and everything I wanted to. So I make sure there were no too modern elements.
Considering that very low budget you have made this on, which is basically a night out on town in Oslo, could you explain more how you made the special effects? Because it has this very cute, especially the monster synth has this very cute 80s trauma heyday of the makeup effects, animatronics era look. Tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, well, the main monster was actually a hand puppet that I made out of a mini keyboard. So I bought a second-hand mini keyboard from the second-hand market, and I took it apart and I attached hinges to the back and a little glove inside so I could animate it like this with my hand. And basically bought a very, very expensive and more pricey Halloween mask. Put some paper and thing foam underneath it to make it bumpy, glued it down, covered it in goo, and then just put my hand inside it. And we just made sure we had the lighting to highlight all of the different bumps and everything, and make sure the goo was reflective and all the fake blood was on there and everything. So yeah, it took about 4 days to make the actual thing because we had to let epoxy set, and I was so excited I couldn't sleep. Every day I was like, oh, I've done this bit, now I've done this bit, and it looks great.
Yeah.
And then we did some test shots and graded the test shots, and we were just so excited to get it done. So
I think an issue with the film is that it looks so cute, so you actually feel a bit bad when it, spoiler warning, meets its demise in the end.
yeah, yeah, that was kind of what we were going for because we were always going to go for comedy. So it was like it can't just be horrifying; it has to be this tiny, small, cute little thing that is also kind of horrifying with the massive teeth and covered in goo. So
Speaking of synths, because this has this very classic 80s sound, John Carpenter, Giorgio Moroder soundtrack. Tell me a bit about the composition of the soundtrack. How did you approach that?
that was my idea from the beginning. Actually, as soon as we talked about it, I just had almost everything sort of mapped out. Like the keyboard, it was a keyboard, so it had to have a synthesizer soundtrack. Like It's mixed in with some orchestral elements just to give it a bit more punch, but that's about it. But there's actually two themes, the character theme and the monster themes, and you can hear them mixing with each other when they're in the same scene, and when they're separate, the different themes come into play. And they're both synthesizer, but the monster is very low and his is very high. So there's, of course, John Carpenter is like the main influence on that one, because I love his synth work. It's incredible. It's really, really, really speaks to me a lot as a synthesizer lover and horror lover.
Yeah. How do you think the reception went today?
Today it was great. Everybody was laughing at points I didn't expect as well as the points I did expect. And in the one scene where the grossest thing happened, everybody was just made me very, very happy.
So what's the plan? Will we have a feature version of this?
I don't think of this one, but I have at the end you saw Thomas will return, so I've got a sequel in mind which will be a feature length where he I'll give you a hint, he becomes a detective solving incidents of other people who are dealing with their electronic monsters. So, yeah.
Looking forward to it. So if anybody wants to know, you will be here also a bit later on to the festival.
Yes.
But have you been accepted to all the festivals, and how are the reactions been there?
We won the Best Monster Film Award in Los Angeles last year at the LA Indie Horror Fest, and the reception there was fantastic. It was like everybody was just, again, laughing and crying and being grossed out at the exact points I was hoping for. So the reception was really good. So I had a very good time there too.
So if anybody wants to know more about the movie, where can I go?
It's going to come out later this year, in October, I think, around Halloween time.
Yep.
From my website, Sevenoaks.com, they can go and find out more information there. And I'm also on Twitter as well. So
yeah.
Same
name. Well, we wish you the best of luck,
and
we also look forward to screening it again for more people.
I can't wait. Yeah.
So best of luck, and thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us.
It's been a pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.